Hi there, this is Pavneet from codingwithempathy.com. So today I want to speak to you guys about pull requests and how empathy can improve your pull requests. So this is based on an article our friends over at Slack Engineering have written. I'll link that up in the show notes below. A pull request is basically a change made to a codebase which has been submitted as a proposal to go into the main trunk. Before it goes into that trunk, this pull request is then reviewed by one or several reviewers and verified to basically make sure that the change going through isn't faulty, we haven't introduced new bugs, or any other security or performance issues which may arise. If we now look at the mindset of a developer submitting a pull request, how is that developer thinking? So there you are. You've fixed a bug in production, or you fixed a bug. You've finished a new feature. You've done something, and you're feeling, yes, I'm happy. I fixed a bug. It's ready. Awesome. Let me push this out. You have all the code in your mind. You know exactly what's changed. You know how it used to be. You know what you've introduced, and you're ready to move on with your life. So this is your mindset as a developer submitting a pull request. So if you just hang on a little bit and think about, what about the reviewer? Depending on your interaction with that reviewer. So let's assume you have had little interaction with that reviewer. So the reviewer was not involved with the fix. Your reviewer has no idea what you were doing, your mindset, and he or she has no idea what issues you hit along the way. So no idea about the compromises you've taken, no idea about all the trade-offs you've made, and basically your reviewer is totally missing the context that you had. So these are a few suggestions for things you can do to improve your pull requests. Give it a good title. A good title allows people to understand what exactly there is they're getting into before they start, actually looking at the pull request. So a generic title like fixed issue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is technically correct, but from a reviewer standpoint, it tells them nothing. A good title would be a fix for the problem so-and-so type of users have when something happens. Now that may be long for many people, but that's giving a ton of context. Next suggestion is to use the description to tell your reviewer how you ended up with this solution. What did you try that didn't work? And why is this the right solution? Now this is something which is often missing, I think. So you may be able to see, well, you will be able to see the commit history, the changes made in code. And you may be able to understand the code itself because it is written in a good way. But you have no idea about, the other things that you have considered and why you reached this decision at all. So this is basically saying, take a step back and describe your thought process. Now this is not a big, A4 page, of text. This is basically a few bullet points, just explaining where you're coming from and why you ended up here. Be sure to link to any secondary material that can add more context. As example, you can add a link to a bug tracker, to a Slack archive link, and that can really help with the issue. So this is something I think makes a lot of sense. So when you have a discussion on Slack or Flowdoc or any of these chat applications, you will have a publicly available URL, which you can then copy in and allow someone else just to click that, and they will see the history, like a dialogue. It could be, interactions with a business owner or product owner or some other user or developer, which gives a ton of context. Just following conversation, just things fall into place, at least a lot easier. Ask for specific feedback. So if you're worried about that a certain call to a method is something you have to do to make it work, but you feel it was wrong or it could be avoided for some reason, so places in your code you're unsure of, right? So like basically point out that these classes, this file, this method, this function, this approach is something, this part of it I'm slightly unsure of. The rest of it I think is fine. Obviously give me your feedback on that. So actually, being a little proactive and thinking about where is it you are the most unsure or you've spent the most time trying to figure out. And then, point the reviewer towards these areas. You should explain what's going on for your reviewer. What exactly did you fix? And did you have any trouble while fixing this bug? What other ways could this have been fixed? And why did you decide to fix it this way? This is a lot of information, and every pull request will need various amounts of information based on what exactly it is you're trying to submit. So like a very simple, straightforward bug fix about changing color doesn't really need to be that advanced. You don't need to, include a wall of text. But what you may want to include is some of your reasoning behind. If you are the one deciding the color, then you need to include your reasoning behind that. If the color has been predefined by some template, then basically you just need to point to your style guide or whatever, saying this is the new color which is chosen. Bang, there it is. So it all depends on your context. As a developer putting out this pull request, you need to put yourself into the shoes of the reviewer, and just give as much context as possible. In regards to what exactly is included in a pull request, the content itself, we want that to be as focused as possible, because if the contents of the pull request is focused, then obviously the pull request itself will be focused. So the smaller the task, and the fewer tasks you try to include into one change set, the simpler and easier it is for another reviewer to understand and actually accept that. And another thing is, the better the pull request, the better documentation you have around that pull request, the better the code itself, obviously, the commits, the easier it is for a reviewer to get that and also get it through to the end user, get it deployed to production. And this gives both the developer and the reviewer a lot of confidence. If you flip it a little bit, if you are a reviewer and you're getting this pull request, you can really, you can feel where this developer is coming from. You can understand what the choices made, what was involved. You get a lot of context, and you also have a lot of confidence in that the quality is actually pretty good. You obviously have to go into the code and review it and see that the quality actually meets your standards, etc. But that is your job as a reviewer. Furthermore, as a reviewer, once you've actually stamped this and said, okay, this is approved, I like this, I'm pushing this further down the pipeline, I'm merging it to master, I'm making it go to production. Once you've actually given that sign-off, you are also taking responsibility for that code. So it's no longer a single person writing code, code's responsibility for that feature to work or the bug fix to work. You have now as a reviewer, you are another person involved and responsible. So you also need to have the confidence to say, this is good. I can understand this. It'll be great. Let's push it through. So in conclusion, good pull requests are an act of empathy, both for the author and for the reviewer. So add a bit of empathy, think about the context of your reviewer, and as a reviewer, try to think about the context of the developer in question and try to understand where the choices are coming from. So how do you guys do pull requests? How do you guys introduce changes to your code base? And what are your thoughts on empathy? All right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from this, or at least got your thoughts stirring in regards to how you communicate your changes in a pull request. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So drop off a comment, reach out to me on Twitter, subscribe. Alright guys, thanks again. Bye bye.